I'm here at NAREIT's headquarters in Washington, and joining us today is Jim Fetgatter, Chief Executive of AFIRE. Your association recently released its annual investor survey. What would you say are some of the major changes in last year's responses versus this year?
One was the perception of the U.S. as more stable and secure than it has been in the past 5 years. The U.S. has always scored highly as a stable, secure place to invest, but that score has been going down significantly in the past 5 years. Now, for some reason, all of a sudden this year, it went back up again. So that's perhaps it's in comparison to some other parts of the world, but nevertheless, they perceive it as being more stable and secure. Along with that, they also have perceived it to be a place with less possibility for capital appreciation, which last year the scoring was very high on that. So there is a perception that perhaps all the appreciation has now gone out of the markets in which they want to invest in.
Which countries do investors view as some of the more favorable emerging markets?
It's really Brazil. I mean, that was the surprise to us all. China is always still in there, and there were more countries listed in their response this year than there have been in the past several years. They have been being very conservative in which of the emerging markets that they're willing to go into or they're thinking about. So that list has expanded.
How about in the United States? Outside of major gateway cities, are there any other markets that foreign investors are looking to invest in?
Mostly the major gateway cities. They have not really spread out to any other city, at least as far as office retail products are concerned. Now, some of them are investing in some secondary cities if they can buy a portfolio of multifamily housing. And in that case, those markets are pretty good. But if you're talking about a typical office investor or a typical retail, no, it's still Washington, New York, San Francisco, Los Angeles, Boston.
What do you think the chances are for reforming FIRPTA this year?
There is certainly more chatter about FIRPTA in the industry and in some of the press than there has been in my 20 years that I've been doing this job. However, with the fiscal problems of the U.S., with the election year, I'm not particularly optimistic. However, I think that our role and other real estate organizations certainly is to keep this in the forefront and keep talking about it so that when the appropriate time comes and when a good time comes, perhaps we can see some changes.
Thank you so much for joining us, Jim.
You're welcome.
I'm Carissa Chappelle for REIT.com.